Hello, Baker County, and welcome back to the Press Pass, a weekly conversation about what's in the paper, what we're working on, and what Baker County is talking about. This is Elizabeth here with Jessica Pravat, our publisher, and Joel Addington, our editor.
And matching blue today, look at us.
Look at that.
You think we actually coordinate.
All right, so early voting is wrapping up on Saturday, August 15th. So I'm going to ask you guys the question that I posted online on our poll channel. Are you an early voter, election day attendee, or do you prefer to vote by mail?
Well, I used to be a diehard on election day. I went down, I took my kids. It was a whole learning experience going to the polls. And then my kids got big enough to announce to everybody in the room who I was voting for. And it got a little awkward then, but I mean, we still did it and it was still a thing.
So
but
it's
now,
a family affair.
It was just kind of trying to instill in them the importance of it. But now I
Lazy
early
vote by
vote.
mail?
I early vote.
Early.
It's the whole, of course, too, the problem is Election Day is Tuesday, and as most people are aware, Tuesday for us is a busy day. Now, the advantage is the polls do open very early, so...
Yeah, you could go first thing or
Right.
pull away from paper duties. And have
And I always have. I can honestly say, I don't think I have ever missed an election since I turned 18.
Yeah, but we're also often covering elections, so it can be a bad... Tuesdays are usually not a good day, you know?
Yes.
And as somebody pointed out online or on one of the TV stations yesterday, there is no line. You walk in, you walk out, basically.
Yes.
It's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of lazy vote by mail. Just because it's easy. Just fill out your ballot on your couch and send it away.
That's it.
And you can track it. I know you can here
Yeah.
and elsewhere you can track your mail-in ballot. So if they don't confirm that they got my ballot, I will be voting on election day.
Absolutely, because I mean it's super important, and I love the fact that both of my boys have, in fact my youngest one was kind of bummed because even though he graduated in May, he doesn't turn 18 till the end of August.
Okay.
So he's ineligible for
Yeah.
this election, but he is got everything lined up. So when he turns 18 for the
Well, can he vote in the general though?
he'll be able to vote in the general.
Good.
So he is stoked about the idea of being able to vote for the first time. So
Oh, and early voting that's happening now. I went ahead and pulled those figures.
yes.
And guess what? The Republicans are leading about 10-1 or something now.
Yeah.
But the turnout so far, per the elections office this morning, was 12% of all registered voters have voted. And then of those that have early voted, 82% are Republicans and 12% are Democrats. I think I saw Democrat Jacksonville City Councilman yesterday at the elections office telling all the Democrats to go to the polls.
Well,
He was
and
getting
now,
a little hair on fire, let's say.
yeah, and I mean out here you're going to have those skewed numbers just because the
So many more
overall,
registered voters,
the registered voter books are so skewed heavily Republican versus Democrat. Although I know a lot of people that have. They register no party affiliation and be done with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it tells me, though, with 12% already, either, and this is 12% both mail-in and early voting, that there's a lot of enthusiasm, but probably there's a lot of undecided voters still out there. I mean, there's still, 90-ish, 88% or something.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. To me, it's kind of sad because if you look back 2 years ago.
Well, let's remind everybody what happens in primaries.
Well, it's too. This is not a presidential
Right.
year, so it's not all the
Off year.
constitutionals. This is a midterm or an off year for Baker County.
And it's a
It's our governor
primary.
race
It is.
coming up.
Well, it is, but it doesn't inspire the excitement, and therefore voter turnout is almost always significantly lower than
In
it
the midterm
is.
years, yes.
Yeah.
And always lower in primary elections than in general
Right.
elections.
But the thing is your vote's still just as important. So
Certainly.
take the 5 minutes to grab your driver's license, run down there. The poll workers are always so easygoing and let me help you. And I mean, they follow the rules to the T, but they have a smooth system to get you in and out. And they even have tents set up if a line does happen to form, so you're not in this horrible, humid sun.
And they keep all the candidates out of the parking lot.
Yep.
So
They've got all their signage up. Now you have to like walk the line to get there if you're not parking in the parking lot.
You have to drive past them.
Yes, I mean, but we drive past them frequently, and all I can say is, I have seen a lot of some of the same people, hour after hour after hour.
I envy them standing out there.
Hydrated.
That's very true. I mean, I noticed some tents and other ways
a lot of wide-brimmed hats.
Absolutely, because that heat is brutal.
Vicious.
Yeah. Well, we've got two. Speaking of voting and why it's important, we've got 2 county commission seats up for this election, and they help decide on things like the budget.
Growth.
And the county general fund reserves could shrink to $10 million by the end of the next fiscal year. So let's talk about what we found out this week about that.
Yeah, well, that came from County Finance Director Brooklyn Neville, and of course she's just looking at all the numbers and projecting out. So the current year deficit, all things being equal, is projected to be about the same. So the general fund reserves are expected to drop from about $18 million, where they're expected to be at the start of the coming fiscal year in October, down to $10 million at the end of the fiscal year. So that's a lot of money just getting sucked out of the county budget.
Well, it's amazing how quickly
they can spend money.
Yes, I mean they found all this money and they have blown through it quickly. I mean, it's just, and it's kind of scary because it's like they've forgotten. I mean, and of course, too, keeping in mind, all of this has been very hypothetical based on discussions. The decisions aren't final, but
these are all based on budget projections. The requests will say that from various department heads and constitutional officers in terms of how much they're asking for in the coming year's budget. But the current budget is what it is, and they're spending what they're spending, and they're getting in terms of taxes and revenue what they're getting, and they are $4.7 million short today.
Yeah, based on the expected revenues. And I mean, the problem with that is at that rate, you figure, they had 18, they want to keep 10 in reserves. I only gave them 8. And then with this whole property tax amendment thing, they could be backing themselves into a massive corner by allowing this budget. I mean, obviously last year it ballooned way more than they realized due to faulty spreadsheets.
Just some bad math. The budget went from about $50 million annual to $75 annual overnight. So.
And luckily they had the cushion, but they're blowing through that cushion
pretty
too
fast.
Doggone quick.
Pretty fast. And there's one caveat I want to point out that Brooklyn did mention, which was that and I haven't checked the state Department of Revenue website today, but as of last week, they didn't have revenue figures from the state in terms of sale tax revenue, gas tax revenue, small county, fiscally constrained revenue. So hopefully they'll get some positive news there. But
well, I mean, they did enact the additional gas tax, so that should give them a little bit more coming in there. But I mean, really, the state of Florida's got to get it together. I mean, being so late with revenue figures, but yet they have such firm deadlines on the counties have to have this done and this but yeah, if you don't know what the extra revenue is coming in from them, that can be a big problem.
It is. And so they were forced to, in these projections, just base them off of whatever the current revenue figures are from this year. They just carry them forward.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed the state comes out with some more revenue.
Or they actually come out with revenue figures and they're close to what they're projecting.
Otherwise, they just need the numbers now.
But they did set the millage rate.
Yes, they sort of hemmed themselves in by setting the maximum millage rate at the current rate, which is 7.29 and some change.
So it'll bring in a little extra because of increased property values. But it's obviously, instead of trying to go back to what they thought they were approving budget-wise last year, and they were off by $4.7 million, they've decided to just say, okay, we were off by 4.7, so we're going to just roll that in, and here we go.
Yeah, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about what's driving these deficits, and it's the core county services, talking about law enforcement, roads, garbage, solid waste, trash services. All those things are costing more than the revenue, I should say the recurring revenue. That's the annual revenue that comes in every year, not one-time state budget revenue, one-time grant revenue. The revenue that is designed and intended to fund these services do not cover the cost of those services.
Right, because they have a solid waste assessment that has never touched the actual cost of solid waste.
Right, and I think it's, what is it now, 55, 70-ish? I think they upped it to 70 something, but...
No, it seems like it's stayed the same forever, but I just know every year...
Chat.
Yeah, we'll figure it out exactly, but it's not anywhere close even. I mean, it's like way short with that assessment. And I mean, in the commissioner's defense, they started that process to research impact fees and assessments. And I mean, the timing based on this property tax amendment couldn't have been better. So they're making the investment to do the study. And of course,
that study's ongoing today.
Right. And it's ironic it costs them so much to do the study. And the idea is to ensure, and I guess this was the legislature's idea, they wanted to make sure that counties didn't just start creating these assessments and these impact fees and bringing in way more money than they needed. They want to make sure it's a fair fee.
Yeah, they didn't want county commissioners to say, just set arbitrary figures based on whatever budget constraints there in that year.
Exactly. So I mean, it is a lengthy process. It is an expensive process because...
Yeah, you have to prove, essentially, that you're not charging property owners more than what you expect the cost to be.
Right. And I mean, depending on the type of it, if they do impact fees or assessments, there's a very strict rule that they have to follow in terms of how it can be used, what it can and cannot be used for. It's very convoluted. I mean, they basically had to hire really smart mathematicians and statistics gurus and then attorneys, because you always need an attorney.
Yeah, you need the
to
legal
cover
guys,
your back.
the legal guys, and the CPAs to figure all this stuff out.
Yes, and
so we are paying a high dollar amount to. I think the $100K is what was budgeted for this study that is again ongoing now. Now, because like you're saying, it's a very complex process that's very steeped in law. That it's slow, and let's say that the study comes back by the end of the year. County commissioners could then implement it in 2027 for people to start paying effectively the next tax year, so they won't actually get the revenue until the following year. So there's still going to be a year or so a time period if the property tax amendment passes that they'll have to prepare for both, I guess, because it will take the property tax amendment probably another that same year to get implemented.
Yeah, I think that's that discussion was it would be for the 27, which means it would be
so they would be hitting about the same time.
Yeah, so I mean that's the thing. The timing couldn't have been better, but I'm kind of curious now how heavily they're going to potentially have to lean on assessments and impact fees. And two, with this change, more than likely, and this is an assumption on my part, they're going to have to probably hold off on that study, because if they were to do that study now, the amendment passes in November, then and that's going to change figures drastically in terms of how much revenue's coming in and stuff like that.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be too complicated in that they'll have the results of the study hopefully by the end of the year, and if it passes, there'll just be some math, some simple math,
right?
Maybe plugging in one number for another number kind of a thing. Hopefully,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things that at this point we're only 3 months from November, which is terrifying that Christmas is going to be here before we know it.
But we don't have ballot language as yet.
Yeah,
and of course, depending on what that language is, that could impact how the vote goes. But there's been a lot of opposition so far from the police union, the firefighters union, now the statewide sheriff's association is against the amendment,
and tons of county commissioners around and city commissioners around the state. I mean, when they first even started seriously saying, okay, you've got this much time to create this and put it out there, the amount of pushback that came from government officials all the way across the board. And I think
they realized what the implications were.
Right. And I mean, and then you have the average property owner who just hears no more property taxes.
What?
Right.
Yay! and I mean, yes, I for one absolutely would love the idea, and I think the system is broken. But
Yeah, one of the most compelling arguments I've heard for it on the other side of the coin is, particularly elderly folks that are limited incomes that, they have to pay on the property is the taxes and the insurance. And the insurance is up and the taxes are up, so they need some relief.
yeah, it's a broken system, and I mean, hopefully, eventually, somebody will actually fix it instead of just tinkering with it and throwing it back, and so we'll see.
Well, let's walk from county to city then. Blair Nurseries filed a 14+ million lawsuit against the city.
Attorneys.
Yeah, Bert Harris claim.
Yeah, so the Bert Harris Act was passed in the 90s in the state of Florida. It's a very pro-development developer act in that it allows developers of real estate and property owners to sue city and county governments if they take actions that they can prove reduces the value of their property. Now, with this property owner, Blair Nurseries, just for a little map guidance here, this is South 121 near the State Hospital, just south of Legacy Elementary.
It goes as far as Mud Lake Road. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
basically
out
from
in your-
Legacy. Yeah,
Yes,
this is in my neighborhood, and we have a problem.
Hundreds of acres we're talking.
Yes, it's out there. It's basically from Legacy south to Mud Lake. It is that massive parcel of land, and it's it's ironic because this is the exact same act, the Bert Harris, is how the city got pushed into allowing the golf course.
Yes, it's the same, very similar circumstances in the Blair Nurseries case. They're suing over water utilities, essentially. The city won't give them water utilities. The city says, you're not in the city, and you need to do something with the county, and there's a lot of communication that has happened, so check out this week's edition to read all the backstory there. But that fight's over utilities. The fight at the golf course property was over density.
Yes.
How many houses and how far apart they can be and a lot of other stuff. But essentially the city was sued then, and they came to a settlement in which initially the city just denied that the density that they requested. And so they sued, and they came to an agreement on exactly how many homes and a lot of other characteristics of the development. They basically just negotiated all this stuff out.
Well,
and they had to pay the developer $100,000.
Yeah,
for the trouble.
And that's a lot different than 14 million.
That's a lot
it
different
is,
than 14
and I mean, and the thing I think what's important to point out to a lot of people that don't know all of that backstory is developments like the golf course and like this Blair Nursery development, which was actually two separate PUDs, which are planned unit developments. A lot of these projects, and there were even more than this, back in like 2004, 5, 6, 7, got approved by the county and the city. And I mean, if we had not had the housing market crash of 08, we would look like Blanding Boulevard, it would seem like, or Oakleaf, or if you go out towards like Green Cove, and I mean, it's just
starting to turn
subdivisions on top of subdivisions. And then 08 happened and everything stopped. And so all of these developments went away. And ended up being a good thing for Baker County because it was like, and that's almost 20 years ago. Well, what happened was the city is specifically, and I don't know about the county, but when they approved these PUDs and all these projects, there was no sunset clause on them. So they kind of were just out there. And
it was almost, there was this different mindset that like...
Well, you just assumed they were going to hurry up and build.
We were growing so fast that people just didn't foresee that not happening.
Right.
And so they didn't put end dates on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, that's not really legal.
Well, and that's it. And so that's, of course, the city has kind of, I think, started retroactively trying to go back through some of these and basically putting that, they've changed their ordinances so it doesn't happen again. But I mean, what happened was all of these deals got made then, and there was this massive amount of density. And I'm sure, you know, in terms of like the issues they have with water capacity and all, it probably was a little looser because this development wasn't just happening here, it was happening all over the state. And so they were able to say, oh yeah, we can do this. But like in the case of Blair Nursery specifically, there was a lot of agreements made, verbal agreements that, you know, well, we'll do this, and this, but you have to meet us halfway, and you have to do this.
Yeah,
and
so
this.
much so that there was money changing hands,
Yeah.
applications, a lot of documents, and that was Blair Nursery's argument is although they've been slow walking the development process, they feel like they got these commitments from the city that go back almost 20 years, and they should stand to them today and continue with them today.
But they're forgetting to mention they didn't do most of what they said they were going to do.
Everybody that's been around for the last 20 years has seen that property just sit there, not look any different. But think about Greystone, okay? Greystone was one of these subdivisions that was approved 20 years ago that is just now being built out and like crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean, but on the flip side, Greystone, they had actually at least went in and put
they had all their water and sewer.
Yeah, I mean, they had that much done. They just didn't build it out. Blair Nursery's just
they haven't turned dirt yet.
Yeah, but they, you know, Blair Nursery's basically, they, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, they massively dropped the ball. They basically said we're going to do this, and this. The city did some of their parts. I mean, they've got water and sewer lines out there for Nefesh. So they had said, yes, we can. But there were some very important things that Blair Nursery Properties, even at that time, should have done to show the intent of pursuing it. And they just they dropped the ball and walked away, and now all of a sudden they're back because there's money to be had, and they're trying to, you know, put their foot on the city's throat and force them into it. And I hope that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and to be fair, they could develop today. I mean, it's not like there are not other large tracts in this county being developed under county jurisdiction. They just don't want to develop in that manner, so they're trying to do it in a different way.
It's all about money. They want to squeeze as many houses on that property as they can to make more money for themselves. And yeah, that just...
Well, it's costing the city some more money, at least in attorney's fees for the time being.
Yeah, of course. But, you know, ultimately, if the city wins... when the city wins,
or they reach some kind of settlement for monetary donations to Blair Nursery's charitable funds.
Well, Blair Nurseries can then cover the city's legal expenses because they do hire in a special set of attorneys for this.
Yeah, it'll be specialized real estate attorneys. In this case, defending the city, just as in they were defending them with the other Bert Harris claim.
All right. So.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about some fun to know, good to know things. I don't know. But they're
tidbits.
The FDOT is looking for public input on the Cedar Creek Bridge.
Yes, if you live near 229, County Road 229, and the Cedar Creek Bridge, FDOT wants you to attend the meeting and share your thoughts on their plans for, I think it's a bridge replacement.
It's a replacement, and I mean, the big thing is it's going to cause some detours, and I mean, I remember when they had to replace the bridge that fell during one of the hurricanes some years ago that was on 127, and at that point I was having to go to Taylor to drop off kids every day, twice a day, and so I ended up having to go up to 29, around 124, back to 127. And so now the people who live north of the Cedar Creek Bridge are going to have to go north up 229, across to 124, and back up 127 to get to I-10 or something. So it's input on that. And two, just to kind of let people know, just because FDOT sets these list of projects, and they do like a 5 to 10 year plan. And so some of these bridges, everybody is saying, well, what about this one? What about this
I
one?
was like, oh, you've seen Facebook comments.
Yeah. so Reynolds
What about that
Bridge.
bridge?
Yes. Reynolds Bridge is finally on that 5-year plan now. And I guess FDOT finally got tired of waiting on Georgia to not respond. So they stepped up and said, fine, you don't want to fix it, we will. Now, maybe they'll leave it like 1 inch short of the Georgia side or something. But it is in the process of, and we did have an article on that a few months ago. And then also the Turner Cemetery Bridge. That is one of the FEMA projects that has, I think, been bid. And there's like a whole, they are in the process of, but government moves slow unless it's tax time.
And when if FEMA is paying the bill or FDOT is paying the bill, they make the rules kind of.
Right. So I mean, the county commissioners, trust me, it's like the boat ramp. Every single meeting, somebody is asking for updates. Tell us what's going on, because they want the projects done as much as you do, because they're tired of probably hearing about it.
Yeah, we have an update this week.
Yes.
And this week's edition on the boat ramp and other FEMA projects.
Yes. But these FDOT does host these workshops, and the whole idea is just they're really targeting those citizens that are going to be affected by the construction, so they can show them these are the plans, this is what it looks like, this is how long, timelines, that type of thing.
Yeah, and that meeting, I believe, is at Sanderson Congregational Holiness?
I think so. We'll put that in the chat as well.
Yeah, and it's in the paper this week.
It is in the paper this week, but it is Tuesday at 4:30. It's kind of when they do the open house. We'll have all the big, pretty pictures of the plans for people to peruse, but they won't actually make a presentation with all the details until 6. So if you want a presentation, 6. If you just want to ask questions and peruse, 4:30.
Yep.
All right, and then Glen Baptist is doing... Well, they're not doing it. It's just the location.
That's the location. The COAD group.
That's sort of a volunteer group of
organizations and people.
Yeah, it's a lot of nonprofits, emergency management with the sheriff's office. They just sort of marshal themselves during, before, and after disasters to help people impacted by disasters. And that's what they're going to be doing on the 29th at Glen Baptist, is giving away free disaster supplies, giving out resources, direction. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to just make sure that you're prepared on the off chance you need to be. Yeah, it's about to get
crazy these next couple of months. So.
Yeah, it's we've had a lot of rain just in the last week, so it's
COAD stands for Community Organizations Active in Disaster.
Yes, and they're very active. It is an awesome group, and I mean, they formed the group, they created that nonprofit, and they just took off. I mean, it's nice to see them actually, they didn't get started and then fall apart. They have got started, they have stayed strong, and they are constantly in the community.
Yeah, fingers crossed they'll have a little bit of a, let's say, less hectic disaster year this year than the last couple, and they can kind of get caught up.
Yes.
All right, and then Jessica went to the very exciting, momentous occasion.
Dun, dun, dun.
A gas station opened in Baker County.
Who knew?
It just happens to be Wawa.
Not just any gas station.
And it's funny because over the last almost 30 years, I've gone to a lot of grand openings.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never gone to one of that level. And the fact that it is a gas station just makes it funny to me.
This is our Buc-ee's.
And
I guess so.
I'm sure Wawa, if they would hear, would say we're not a gas station, we're a Wawa. And that's different because of blah, 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 blah.
Now, I will say I loved Wally, their mascot.
Yeah, what was he like?
She...
Is he throwing nuts too?
Yeah, they had the whole hoagie making contest, and they were throwing lettuce all around. I guess that was their version of confetti, and at least this way the birds will come get it after the fact.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I mean, they had music, they had all sorts of people. It kind of reminds me of Walmart they have these big meetings and they get their
Oh, yeah.
employees all pumped up, and it's all the excitement
Mhm.
that all the employees had these little clappers and
Uh-huh.
noisemakers, and I mean they like literally shot off confetti when they cut the ribbon, and it was a whole thing. I did go get me a free cup of coffee.
Yeah, the free coffee got in a lot of folks in there.
Yes,
Sure.
and I'm looking now. I'm excited. I see they have like these bowls. They have like a lot of food. I mean,
Yeah, I haven't
Yes.
tried the subs or the pizza or any of that, but it's on the list.
yeah. I mean, I hear their smoothies are amazing, but it's yeah, it was fun. It was kind of funny to see all these people lined up for free coffee, and they did have a free t-shirt, and they were giving out some free hats, but it was a good time. And I mean, it is nice to see another business come to Baker County,
definitely.
provide some options. I mean, you know how hard it can be getting in and out of some of the gas stations, and I mean, just in terms of for food, if the food is halfway decent, it's a lot easier access for us here.
Yeah, I'm fine seeing those two gas stations, the Murphys and the Wawa, compete on price. For
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's good to have it right off the interstate. Another option right there. That's it. So,
But it does mean, because of the increased traffic,
Yeah.
people need to really be paying attention. I mean, we've already had some pretty gnarly wrecks at that intersection, and I mean, you just got to pay attention. I mean, it's like that everywhere, but still, in that instance, I mean, even me just trying to make a turn into Walmart the other day, you're not used to having a lot of traffic coming from Barber Road.
Yeah, it's almost like a dead
So
end.
you
But
have
not
to really
anymore.
stop and look.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm waiting for the hype to die down because I mean I frequent the one on Normandy anyway, so I'm like I know all about Wawa. I can wait. I can wait a little bit, but
Well, I'll get some
it will be-
recommendations for lunch.
Yes,
right.
yes.
All right, and then Friday night,
oh,
our football is back.
yes.
Go Wildcats.
Friday Night
Thanks.
Lights are back. I mean, it's an exciting season. I think Jamie Rogers is back,
Right.
and
Hometown boy.
that's it. It really made a lot of people excited. There's still a lot of mixed feelings, and I think at this point everybody's just like holding their breath to
See how it goes.
see if he brings all that winning touch back to Baker County. But it's this is
A lot of expectations for sure.
this is a kickoff classic, so that's just making sure everybody has a chance to play.
For
and,
you.
yeah, so it's not like a actual game that's going to count other than
But we should get a look at some of the young talent on the Wildcats. I understand they are kind of a young team this year. And it's going to be interesting to see how the defense and the offense plays on Friday
It
night.
will.
It's some tough competition from what I understand. I mean, check out the
Dunellen's a
edition.
pretty stiff team, and the cool thing is if you show up, I think it's about 20 minutes early. The band has a surprise, and I, as a retired band mom, they've been working. Yeah, that's true. They've been working really hard this summer, and while their halftime show, they said, is not quite ready to put it out there. They've got some plans. So show up a little early, get your seat in the stands. I think the school has made some changes and everything. The Booster Club, they're really hyping up the season, and so it's as Coach Rogers, the preview this week, he sat down and talked with our sports editor Richard Moore, and he seems pretty hyped. So
Yeah,
I can't wait to check it out.
So yeah,
Should be fun.
go shop local and get you one of those really cute Wildcat shirts I see popping
Yes.
up, and yeah, we'll be there in some capacity. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely need a new Wildcats hat.
Yep.
All right, and then we did have a question submitted by a reader. So this is what they said. Since the last county and clerk finance director has left, how many CPA firms and employees have taken over?
Okay, so I did a little bit of research on this, coincidentally, with the finance manager last week. So, very spot on question from this reader. And so, what we found out was that since 2022, the county has paid James Moore CPA $522,000. That's contractor 1. Contractor 2 is CKH, and they've been paid $128,000, again, since 2022. So that's $650,000, roughly the last 5 years, give or take, which is about $130,000 a year. And if you divide that up over 4 years on an annual, it's about $160,000 a year, which ironically is about what the county spends on staff now for her finance.
Yeah, because I mean, essentially they had. So James
So
Moore,
we're, like,
just to kind of
doubling the
explain to people,
capacity.
yeah, kind of explain to people. So James Moore is the auditing firm,
Yes.
and so they had a lot of increased cost trying to get the audits prepared and having to do a lot more work to get them to the point of being ready to go. So
Yeah,
there
apparently
was
the books weren't auditable as they found them, so they had to do a lot of
Right.
work just to be able to audit them in terms of like doing research with county staff to figure out where money went and who was paid
Right.
and who wasn't paid.
And so essentially, when the finance director, the original finance director left, it's been a year ago now.
It was about
It was
August, I
August,
think.
yeah. So it's been a year ago. They didn't have anybody for a while, and then so CKH, and they were contracting, I think, with another company as well. So there were
Yeah,
like
we're trying
two
to confirm.
companies.
We're trying to confirm as of today a third potential contract.
Yeah, and so there was, that would be 3 companies then all working on the books, and it's not just one person at each. It was a company effort.
Yeah. You don't bill $500,000, dollars over the last,
Right.
what, 4-ish years.
Yeah, but they did
For what?
eventually hire Miss Brooklyn Neville
Mhm.
in sometime. When was it? It was the end of last year, first of this year.
Yeah, it sounds about right because those budget amendments came in April.
Yeah,
So she was in a couple months after that.
Yeah, so she kind of stepped in and got her feet wet. And I believe they've hired one more. It's an assistant. They had the spot in the budget, but I think they were kind of struggling to fill it.
Right.
And I was told at one point they had hired somebody, then I was told they had not. So we're waiting on confirmation.
Yeah, I took a peek at the budget figures, and it's $100K for the director and 60-ish and change for the assistant, so 160. But again, that's the average on what they have been spending per year on outside contractors.
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully, if they can cut out the outside contractors, then it's not an additional.
Yeah.
Expense.
We're still working on getting the year by year breakdown, which would kind of show us if there was most of that money spent at the end the last 2 years, when they've been sort of struggling versus the 2 years prior. So we have total numbers, and I've requested annual breakdowns.
So there will be a significantly more thorough response to that question in next week's paper.
Yeah, so good timing. All right.
Yeah, we have been working on that. So
That's awesome. Okay, so I think that wraps us up. What should we be telling them to do, Jessica?
subscribe.
Yes.
And if you have stuck around this long, put what is the face with the $sign tongue?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, put that in the comments. Yes.
Or football.
Or football,
whichever
yeah.
works.
I mean, it is Friday Night Lights. I watched a preseason NFL game last Thursday.
How unentertaining was that?
It was. I watched about half of it, but it was
It's
football.
It's hard.
But yes, definitely subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Go to our website. Sign up for a newsletter. We have lots of newsletters. Connect with us
and share. I mean, if you're watching the video, share it on your social media so more people can find us.
Yeah, I mean,
Send
we
us your
might
questions and news tips.
Yeah, you know where to find us.